Okay, so I've just made my last pass. We're at 70. So we pull out our rod. We're going to retrieve my little baggie here. First thing, I want to deposit my lap back in its bag. We don't want to contaminate it with dirt or anything. Be very careful. You don't want to drop these onto the ground or into any dirty area. Make sure you have a clean work area. Put that back away. Seal it. We don't want to mix it up with any of the others. Then we grab one of our patches or swabs. You're going to need a cleaning rod as well. First things first, I give our guide rod here a good wipe down, because it's going to gain some buildup of both some of the diamond and some of the waste from the barrel cuttings. So you can see even from there, we already have some dirt. Set that to the side. Then what I like to do is I clean out the crown a bit, because there'll likely be a bit of buildup there. Then I go back to the window back here. Here's another spot where you like to get a bit of buildup of the lapping compound and stuff. Anywhere where there's a ledge, just give that a quick wipe. I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to use him again later. Then take another square, fold in half. Take our rubbing alcohol here, get it a bit wet, and we're going to fold him and then kind of roll her up and then stick it into the barrel. You want to make sure it's in there pretty tight so it actually cleans the wall of the barrel. I don't put it on your eyelet end, because once again, we don't want to do any spinning motion when there's potential of having grit in it. So we're just going to push it straight through. Put my finger over the end of the barrel here so I can stop it. Push it a bit. It squeezes out some of that rubbing alcohol. And then take my other sort of used piece here, and I really wipe out that barrel window good. You can see where you have nice deposits of dirt. So I'm going to just actually toss that on the floor. Done with this. And then we need to run a dry swab through. So once again, similar procedure. And we just want to pack that. Oops. Don't want to shift my barrel here. Take that up. Pack that into the barrel. Nice and tight, so it'll pick up any last thing in the walls and dry it out so we aren't infecting our next lapping bit that goes through. So once again, that's dirty. Now it is just a case of rinse and repeat, proceeding through the grits. If you accidentally jump or skip a grit, it's okay. You can clean out the barrel and go back and pick up the missed grit. If your barrel is really bad, you can start out with something a bit coarser. Like for example, if I was to try and clean up a really bad brass barrel, I'll probably start with 40 grit. This is about 40 micron, 400 to 500 grit. Let's start out with that. But overall, that is your process. I'm going to finish lapping this barrel, and then I can try and show you it, the interior. And we are back. I've just completed all my grits, 70 of each. Actually, usually I forget a few in there and I end up doing a spare set. One quick tip to keep track, or if you don't want to stop and make a tick every time, is so in my head I basically create a cadence or rhythm. So it's 1 1 1 2 1 3 1 4 1 5. Pull it out next. 2 1 2 2 2 3 2 4 2 5 3 2, up until you get up to 7 or however many you want to do. There's no real disadvantage to doing more. Arguably it's even at your advantage. I just feel that 70 seems to be a pretty good number for me, 70, 75. And in general, if your bore is pretty good to start with, like the ZCI or Mad Bull is, it doesn't need as much work. Now for a couple other tips or notes, you can see that this guy is getting pretty dirty. Some of that's the diamonds impregnated in the lap itself, and some of it's the metal filings from cutting through it. If you're using brass, you notice it would have a gold tint, which all of my laps did after I did that. At some point, you may want to probably flush these and clean them out with like some rubbing alcohol or something like that, and then let them dry, keep them separate, and then reapply, because you can get some buildup on the inside of there. It's nice. All of your compounds should be color coded, and you should always use a compound that the seller can specify the concentration of diamonds in it. Now, what that means is some of the really cheap, you'll see them like, I don't know, 10 bucks or whatever for a big set of them, is like I tried that, or I challenged the sellers to tell me, okay, what percent of this solution is made up of the diamond crystals, and they couldn't really tell me. So that means that they may not have enough in there for you to do your job, or you have to use a lot more compound. Where we're applying it to this itty-bitty bit, you want to have enough diamonds in there to actually do some sanding and some polishing. So that's something to be aware of and be mindful of. I was able to find a Chinese producer that could specify it, and it's, I don't know, it's like a higher end cheap compound. The ones based out of the USA are going to cost you an arm and a leg, but overall they should last you a really long time. Couple quick notes on the setup. I should note, because I was using the round rod here, that my bit here takes a square shaft. I did sand the shaft square on a belt sander. Use X-Acto knife, Dremel, whatever means you want, because we don't want this piece rotating around, and then it's super glued into place. So it's pretty simple, straightforward. In regards to that, when you first get them, your laps are probably going to be pretty stiff, and there's going to be a bunch of dust in there. I used, actually, this is a O-ring removal tool, but you could use dental pick, whatever, to try and help scrape some of that out, you know, tap it on stuff, blow it out, do all that. One other thing you may want to do, or may need to do, is if they're fitting really tight in there, you basically kind of squeeze and kind of sort of like almost twist them a bit, and that'll sort of like break loose the springs in them and get them ready so that they can actually fit into the bore without applying way too much pressure than is necessary. So you have to do that a bit. I just would be be careful not to do it too much and essentially destroy the little spring armature that's built into this nylon material. I'll also say that a component of these I also got Huntseeker's scrapers, designed to remove the gunk left by the paste and, you know, this compound, the metal filings and everything. But at least with the lapping compounds that I'm using, I haven't found use for it. It comes out all good with paper towel. Some of the different ones, or the cheaper ones, may leave more of that behind, or if you're doing crowning more so, you may find these useful, but I have not used them yet. Another important thing to remember is you don't want to cross-contaminate. So part of that is like we clean it between every single round. You want to keep your hands pretty clean. Yeah, and then after the final pass, I do run through my wet, wipe as normal, or my wet patch, dry patch, and then I do another wet patch, and then another dry patch. Then that is done. And if we try and look through this, let's see if we can give you a good angle. Some light. The camera's probably not going to want to focus, but it's a very Good finish. If we can focus in the window here. Oh my gosh. I apologize for the camera quality, guys. It's a cell phone. Sorry, I'm just trying to make videos to at least help explain some things to you guys. But overall, it turns out into a much better quality. Finish interior wise, this is beyond mirror finish and more consistent. In my opinion, it works really well. And just to recap once again, the whole point of lapping is we remove inconsistencies from milling. And by doing that, we improve consistency. We move our lap just back and forth. We don't rotate it. That way that any grooves that happen to get cut the long way inside the barrel or laterally. So that means if the air path gets affected, or it'll leave minimum impact on the airflow through the barrel because it's straight. If we have horizontal or like diagonal lines that get cut into it, it's going to skew off your air path a bit. So we're looking to provide the most consistent cushion of air for the BB to float down the barrel through and offer the least resistance to both the BB and the air. So, who is lapping really for? If you're your average guy trying to improve the accuracy of your gun, lapping's probably not for you. Will it help? Yes, but there's a lot of other things that will help more, like visiting RHOP. You can check out my other videos on that. Tuning your hop-up unit, shimming that, doing some basic air seal mods. That'll take you a long way into improving your consistency, and consistency equals accuracy. Because if you can get a consistent pattern, that's what you're after at the end of the day. However, if you're accuracy obsessed, if you're building DMRs, if you're building snipers, I would definitely recommend lapping your barrel. Part of it is what its value to you. Like I sort of mentioned before, if you're on a limited budget, I would definitely say look at your hop up or upgrade your hop up, move to an R hop first. Lapping is sort of further down on the list of returns that it brings you, but it still definitely does bring a return. As far as quality of what happens to the interior quality, in general, it is my opinion and belief. I don't have hardcore numbers, stats, or figures to back this up, but merely from looking at, inspecting, and closely looking at various barrels that have come through my hands as I've done work for people, is that a lapped or fully lapped ZCI barrel will equate to about the quality of a Prometheus or a PDI barrel. So you can also improve a cheaper barrel, so it's quite good. And by that, my opinion, the ZCI barrel is one of the best buys you can get, because they're only about $20. They're stainless steel. They're about equal in quality, starting out to as compared to like Mad Bull, Black Python 2s or whatever, the hard coated ones, which aren't bad by any means either. If you have a high-end barrel, can you lap it? Is it good to lap it? Yes, you can lap it. Will it improve barrel quality? Yes. But you got to think of your returns. Basically, lapping is starting to get in the area of diminishing returns of what it brings you. And lapping an even better barrel, yes, it will make it even better. But it's not going to be like a night and day difference. For instance, here I have my stock JG Bar 10 barrel. You can come on, focus. You can see actually in there's like nice scratches and everything, because they're so great at manufacturing. It's cheap Chinese clone barrel, so of course it's not going to be good. But if I took my time to lap this, I would notice a night and day difference. I would actually have to start with a really coarse grit and do it a lot to clean it up. But the point is, if you start out with something bad, you're going to see a bigger difference in making it better, if that makes sense. However, I'd recommend starting out with something decent and turning it better. Do you need to lap your PDIs? Like I said, no. If you're looking at a sniper barrel and you're trying to echo out every bit of accuracy, I mean, if you're building a sniper to start with, okay, you know it's going to be an expensive endeavor, it's going to be time consuming. I would definitely recommend looking at, or at least strongly consider lapping, because that's going to bring your interior finish. It's just going to make it a bit better. It's going to help you a bit more in getting your groupings at range. Even if in the end it only means an inch or a half an inch or even a quarter of an inch, that does a lot for you and your groupings. So this has been my guide on lapping. I hope you found it somewhat informative, maybe slightly useful. If you're looking into RHOP, check out my other videos. I think it's a 3-part series on that. Don't worry, I still haven't forgot. I have a hop-up unit here. I'll go through better video on that, installing into there. And our nub types, guess what? M nubs are the man for R hops. Flat hops, you can use different rubbers and stuff for that, but I'll go over that in the second video, or another video just on that topic. And I'll also be covering some reviews and some other information on accessories and stuff I feel lapping, like scopes, optics, what do all those numbers mean. So that's been it. And if you're interested in finding me or contacting me, you can also find me on the Airsoft subreddit as L Sherlock L. And if you're interested in my services of lapping, R hopping, or whatever, you can also contact me there. Thank you.